Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 274. And as promised yesterday, or pretty much last night, because it was just before midnight, and I said that I will have to record this episode much earlier. And here we are. It's about 2:30 p.m. or 14:30, depending on which time system you're using, and I'm recording this one. I still need to write the blog post, which will be the most difficult thing to do before, um, you know, before my today's drive, long drive to Shannon. But I have to do it somehow, and everything happens during my work day. I still have a lot of cleaning to do before my family arrives. So I woke up today with quite a headache after yesterday's run. I think those couple of nights that I slept in terms of late writing, late recording, and staying up late to the night, it definitely hit me hard. And then on top of that, yesterday that was quite a strenuous exercise. I would say that I did 6 kilometers walk with family on Rosnola beach, and then in the evening, just before thunderstorm struck in, I did the 6 kilometers run, and then just below 1 kilometer of the cool down. I did it on purpose because I knew that after run, I already knew late into the run that I get that headache and that's some sort of migraine or kind of exercise pain. I hope that it's nothing serious, but by researching a lot of articles, medical articles, and a lot of different resources, I think that what I am getting is basically every time I get strenuous exercise, um, you know, the dilation of the vessels in the school area is causing certain pressure, and that's felt as a headache. It seems like it's quite common, especially in the sports community. Obviously, most of the sedentary people won't feel that because they don't exercise. Unless they will do strenuous exercise, then they might feel it. But the sample that I've got the data from is mainly sports community. Whoever is making any sports or strenuous exercises, there is percentage of people that are feeling those headaches after they stress themselves. So I hope it's that, fingers crossed, and it's nothing serious. I try to manage and lead a healthy life, fairly healthy, because what's healthy? We can get to certain extent of healthiness, but there is no perfect schema to live kind of a healthy life, because health in general is something that has multiple vectors, and it's very complex. So you can't just, I don't know, eat chicken and exercise and expect to be healthy when you're stressing yourself at work a lot, you're worrying about things in life, and for example, you don't sleep well or you don't hydrate. All these things come together, and they need to come together to give you the, I would say, most chance and less risk of developing anything in your life in terms of health. So if you want to be healthy, there is no guarantees. There are people that lead supposed healthy life and they die suddenly. But these are things that we all need to embrace and understand, that this is a risk of living in general. There is no golden rule to be healthy. There are only guidances, and there's a complex web of things that need to come together to be healthy. And so this blog is also about it a little bit, because I'm trying to fix my procrastination element in my life. For almost 40 years of my existence on this earth, I was a very reactive person. Some of you already heard that, the people that read the blog or listen to the podcast or watch the podcast. So you know what this project is about, but the blunt force healing is basically to get me on the right track, at least a baby steps, one at a time, and slowly kind of pull myself out of that void of procrastination. And I know it's a long process. It will probably take another 20 years before I can say that I'm on relatively good level in terms of what I was at 39, 40 years of age. But yeah, I don't know. It might take 5 years, it might take 10 years, it might take 25 or 30, or I might actually die before I even, you know, can say that I achieved something. Of course, I achieved a lot of things in my life, but we all want more from life in one way or another. Not in every area, maybe. Not everyone has the same amount of wants, but we all want something out of that life. Not just sit there and wait for dying. So yeah, so this project started in 19th of September 2022. So we are really 90 days in, roughly. Sorry, that should be a blooper, but I won't cut it out. I was thinking 90 days of YouTube Shorts because that's a separate thing that I do, and I want to talk about it a little bit later. But I started on 19th of September 2022. That was the first blog post and first audio recording. And today is 274th episode, which means we are 274 days in that project because I journal every single day. Every single day I write the blog post, and every single day I record the podcast. At the very beginning, the posts in written form and the audio were exactly the same. I was just reading them to create the podcast, but for quite a while, if we are 274 now, that means that 74 or 75 episodes are freestyle like this one. So basically, you're hearing me loosely talking about it and sharing thoughts and extra elements that are not written in the blog post. So I wanted to detach a little bit those two elements because from the perspective of reading just the written post, it felt mechanical and it was felt outside of myself as well. I mean, third party, which is readers and listeners, they felt that it's not right because the blog posts are very genuine. They felt like, I've written that. It's cool to read it because it feels like somebody wrote that and it's not AI or, some marketing professional just wrote something very, very robotic. The blog was okay, but then as I was reading the blog post, sometimes I wanted to add something, but I fixed on that format of audiobook more or less, reading the blog post. So I wasn't breaking it. It was always exactly what was in the post. So on day 200, I decided to detach it. And one of the advice that I got from my friend Carlos that I mentioned before was to try that and do more podcasty kind of informal thing because it just feels better. And if it doesn't, then I can always go back to audio reading or audiobook reading. But he asked me to give it a try, and I thought about it for a while already. I wanted to get kind of get free of that, because I didn't have and still don't have too many listeners or readers that could provide me with the feedback. He was the first to actually give me feedback, and I'm like, yeah, let's take it on board and try it. So here we are. So we are 274 days overall as a podcast and blog. It's about 74, 75 days of, I would say, separation between the blog and podcast. So it's a different content. They have common elements because I write and talk about things that happen on a specific day or the day before, so, or what happens in the next day or two. Then they have some commonalities, and the topic is usually start the same, but content is completely different. So you can you can read the blog post and then you can listen to me, and you will have totally different experience, I hope. And that's also, I hope, a bit smart way of, branching out a little bit to make sure that not only I get different kind of people that like, some people like reading and some people like watching or listening. So not only I want to reach out to the good audience on every front, but also reach audience that like, a combo or a kind of complementary reading and listening, or reading and watching, and that will connect. So that will connect for them and give them more value, because they won't be just listening the same thing that they read, but rather than that, they will just read the blog and then they will start listening me sharing thoughts about it, adding bits, removing bits that are not necessary to talk about because they were already in the blog or something like that. So this is how it goes. So we are 274 in the project general, 74 or 75, I think, if you count the episode 200 and this one, that will be probably 75 episodes of loose format podcast. And we are 52 days in video mode. So not only you have a blog, you have audio podcast, but also there's a video podcast. I'm not sure if you're actually watching it or you're listening, but if you want to watch me, my beautiful face, nothing exciting, super exciting happens there, but yeah, if you prefer visuals, then I'm on Spotify in video format and also on YouTube. So feel free to come to my channels and subscribe if you want to be updated on every episode or side projects, because there will be a lot of satellite projects that will be coming out of it. And let's go back to my mistake. That was a kind of blooper or thing that otherwise probably I would cut out if I would be editing those videos. The number 90 is important because in parallel to that project, I decided to start growing the YouTube channel. And because YouTube is a very hard thing to bite, especially if you don't have viral content like music related or soccer related or sports related in general, or movies or games, it's quite hard to get attention of people, especially if you're journaling like me. It's mostly boring stuff for many people that are just consuming entertainment content. So I'm probably searching for guys like you, listeners and readers, that have, I would say, probably higher requirements in terms of what you consume, in terms of genuinity, in terms of authenticity, and something close to real life and not just fake silver lining and all the flowers, honey and bees, but the real stuff that happens in life and real struggles. And this is what I try to share. I'm not cutting out anything from these episodes. If I will be editing the episode, I will tell you during the episode that it was edited. So far, I didn't have to edit anything except for 2 episodes that were at the very beginning when I recorded part in during our walk with Julian in the Donegal Bay, and I started recording with GoPro, and the battery died. So I finished it with the phone, and then I stitched it together. And I also said that in the video that the battery died, so that's why we are stitching it. And I believe that was probably the only one that I edited, to be honest. So it's as authentic as possible. And that 90 days is exactly how long I'm trying the new strategy. Well, not so new because it's 90 days, so it's 3 months. On March 21st, I started creating small shorts on top of the video episodes like this one on YouTube. So the long format video episodes like this one are going every day for 52 days now, but prior to that, I started creating small shorts that I wanted them to not be too detached from what I do, but also I wanted to use shorts because they are a great vehicle to growing YouTube channel. So if you ever thought about growing YouTube channel, you're still in a great place to do that, because YouTube is pushing shorts a lot. They get a lot of views, most of them, and if you create interesting and engaging short video from the start, that's what brings attention, and that's what makes YouTube to push you even to more people, so you get more attention and potentially more followers and subscribers. And that's what I wanted to get. I didn't want to get subscribers just for the sake of subscribers and bragging about the number of subscribers. I know that I will probably lose 50, maybe 75% of those subscriber base that I'm generating at the moment later on, but that's the whole point. I want to gather and expose myself to as many people that can subscribe to my channel. And those who actually like the content and think that it's right for them, they will stay, while the rest will naturally disappear. So this is fine, and I can see sometimes people unsubscribing, but this is a very small percentage. And recently I was very low in terms of production of shorts, but I try to get back on track. As initially I tried to create like 3 to 4 shorts during the day, and they were about 7 to 10 seconds long, so it's fairly easy. I recorded kind of, as genuine and authentic videos as possible, so just from my life, whenever I went for a walk or I was at the beach or somewhere else, I was just recording a short video and then adding, for example, a nice quote that I really think that brings value or is inspirational or motivational for people, or at least is for me, and I think that others might also like it. And we know that quotes are mostly well consumed by everyone, so that's my vehicle, but there are tons of different ideas to create shorts and get you exposure. And so far, over 90 days, I think I have at the moment about 218 subscribers. So not bad for a channel that is online from 0 to 218 in 3 months. And remember, I'm not using any super strategies, any viral videos. I don't use super music or games or movies or pranks or things like that will probably grow me now to 2,000 or 20,000 already by this time. This is not my pair of socks yet. I might produce some funny videos, but I want to have a certain touch to them that are unique to the channel. So I might get a little bit of reaction videos when I have enough subscriber base that will be interested maybe in my reactions, or but if you already have some subscriber base, you should probably do that, because reaction videos are supposed to be quite good in bringing attention and more subscriber base. So there will be a lot of tips and tricks like that I will be sharing with you as I learn them. But yeah, I wanted to tell you that if I can grow a journaling, quite dull and boring channel with quotes to 200, almost 220 subscribers in just 90 days, you should probably start even a podcast, because YouTube now has a podcast element to it. It's not yet as prevalent and visible as it probably should be. So like Spotify has dedicated platform for podcast, and you know that there are podcasts on Spotify, right? The same for Apple. Apple has Apple Music and Apple Podcast. But what YouTube is doing, YouTube provided people with separate type of playlist that is in the back end of the technology is slightly different or treated slightly differently. So if you add video episode to the podcast and do some kind of, regular pattern of them, YouTube is pushing them more. So you can leverage two areas. If you're building a channel and you're posting long format videos, so above 1 minute long, and they are not getting traction, I would start first creating some shorts to get more exposure and bring people in. That's one area. And then start creating regular episodes and add them to create the podcast playlist and add them to that podcast playlist every time you create them, and do that regularly. So while your mid-range videos might not get too much traction, shorts will get it, and those podcast episodes might get a little bit more than those in the middle. So you will get more exposure, and this will hopefully get more attention to your mid-range videos and help you grow channel much faster and exponentially in the future, rather than just waiting for it naturally to build up over 10 years or 15 years. You can do it probably in the 2-3 years time rather than that long. So it's definitely not a get rich quick scheme and get build quick scheme. Obviously many people, and most of the people, have some kind of purpose in building the channel, building community, etc., but also they would like to do it for life. So that's why YouTube gives the opportunity for monetization. But again, monetization elements are subject to discussion. You can earn on ads, you can earn on affiliates. There's plenty of ways to earn on YouTube, and I'm not the one to train you on that. There's plenty of people. Obviously there are con men, and there are real people that are actually advising and inspiring generation of YouTubers to earn on YouTube in different ways. So you can check this out. I think Think Media is one of the, I would say, good resources. If you go to Sean Cannell or Think Media, they have a great podcast, and if you apply what they say, you are more than likely to grow channel very fast and very well. I will be wrapping up now. We are at the moment 24 minutes in. I really appreciate your time, because you spent 24 minutes with me. That's a lot. A lot of your time. It's your life. You have limited amount of time. You could have spent it on maybe a funny videos, or maybe some training, or just go out with friends. But you spent 24 minutes with me, and probably 25 as I finish it. So really thank you very much for that. I have a very hard night ahead. I will be leaving around 9 p.m. and drive for 3 hours to Shannon Airport to pick my mother and my brother. And then we will be probably leaving Shannon around 1 o'clock at night and drive 3 hours back to Donegal town. So the earliest we will get will be 4 in the morning, and I expect it will take longer because there is a forecast of bad weather in the Shannon area specifically and Galway. So it's something that I will be crossing coming from Donegal town. So I expect maybe even some local floodings or something like that. I fingers crossed I'll get there smoothly and come back smoothly, and we'll have very short sleep time between arrival and the morning. And I still have work. I didn't take the annual leave for that, so it would be difficult to manage. I might get some emergency day or two in the middle, but for now I think I can handle. But yeah. So have a great rest of the day, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. If you're in Australia, you're probably already past midnight. If you are in India, for example, you're pretty much getting ready to bed, depending if you go early or later, but you're definitely in the late evening time. If you're in the US, you're still ahead of me, a lot ahead of me. It's your morning time, so that's probably depending on which coast you are. If you're on the east coast, that's probably we have 3 o'clock in Ireland, so you're probably around 10ish, yeah, around 10 a.m. If you're on the Pacific side, then I'd probably say you're even 3 hours earlier. So that would be 7 in the morning. I don't think anyone wakes up that early and listens to me, but if you do, leave a comment on YouTube. That would be massive to hear that you have a willingness to listen to my rambling so early. And if you're in Europe, there's very little time difference between us, so that's the middle of the day. Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you tomorrow.